Hi everyone, my name is Woojin, and my TED Talk today will be on my personal awakening to the dual nature of Silicon Valley. Having grown up for most of my life in the Bay Area, I naturally developed a doe-eyed fascination for Silicon Valley's big tech and startup scene. I was really drawn to the excitement and endless potential in the tech industry for creating products that could change the world, and with so many smart and talented people to work alongside. I spent much of my life chasing after these ambitions under a bit of a rose-tinted lens to the tech industry around me. As at Berkeley, I aspired alongside many other tech and business-oriented students to land a job at one of the glamorous, prestigious, booming big tech companies. And last year, I kind of got my wishes. I received an internship offer for the following summer at one of the biggest tech giants in the world, and I felt really proud of myself for all the work I had done to get there. Now, I had heard a bit about this company's unethical business conduct, but I mean, that's just how business rolls. And I worked really hard for this, right? I accepted the offer without much hesitation. However, in the following months, a massive inflection point came for both me and the rest of the world. The COVID-19 pandemic struck. As the pandemic hit especially hard for people of less fortunate means and those on the fringes of society, I began to clearly see many of the systemic inequalities and injustices in our nation and world. I found myself having to become much more socially aware and politically involved. As a result, I started to read into some of the concerns that had been brought up about this company I was interning at, and to be honest, I grew increasingly worried with every passing investigative report, filed worker complaint, and employee protest that I came across, but I still remained in a state of limbo, unable to admit my mixture of guilt and denial as I excused each incident as a one-off or just a business thing and continued to work. But when I heard news of my friend's father who had been out of a job in the pandemic and had gone to work at this company's warehouse to support his family, when I heard that due to a lack of adequate safety protocols or labor quota adjustments, my friend's father contracted COVID on the job, and finally, when I heard that he passed away from the virus at such a young age, under the intense physical duress of this job overseen by those who seem to value profit margins over human labor conditions, I couldn't close my eyes for any longer. The sheer number of well-documented instances of labor abuse, active crushing of union efforts, tax avoidance through loopholes, and destructive monopolistic practices continue to rise at an alarming rate today. I brought these issues up carefully and respectfully with my coworkers and managers during my internship, but it appeared that everyone I talked to either seemed to be hearing this for the first time or not seeing this as a big enough deal to risk talking about further. And I know for a fact that this company is far from being the sole offender on these counts. In fact, many of these ethical violations can be charged to more than a few of the big companies of today across various industries. My utopian vision of Silicon Valley began to fall apart as I peeled off the shiny customer-facing product layer and found underneath a worrying trend of purely profit-driven business conduct and often inhumane exploitation of low-income and minority workers. Now, this is not to say, though, that Silicon Valley or the tech industry in general are the pure incarnations of evil. Far from it. Technology and innovation, by definition, are meant to advance humanity by providing us with new tools that can drastically improve our lives. And many of the tech companies here and around the world do conduct themselves responsibly on social and ethical fronts. So, as we draw to a close, I would just like to resonate with those in the audience like me, who are privileged enough to have a bit of freedom on where we choose to work, even amidst this global crisis. And I simply want to say this. Please join me in weighing a company's ethical conduct and responsibility, at least a little bit, in our decisions on whether we want to work for them. No company is purely good or bad in terms of ethical conduct, but with just some honest conversations and a bit of directed research, you can definitely find out roughly where they might lie in the spectrum. How the company treats their own blue-collar workers, environmental issues, diversity and inclusion initiatives, or other social implications of their work can be some good indicators. If a company doesn't look good overall on this evaluation, then we can either work hard to push it in the right direction from within, Or if that fails repeatedly, then maybe we can start to actively search for better places to work if possible. Thank you.